Blah blah.
And then come here. You already have a trade lenses.
You can. You can.
And it's a class.
Blah blah blah. Yes.
Okay, very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this last day of the conference, SDGs Summit 2020. So with us, all the participants to mute, so we can conduct our conference this afternoon. Until today, and today we are going thank you for attending this conference. Since we have past 5 minutes, I would like to start this conference by praying first. So let's start to pray based on our religion by ourselves. Pray starts. Pray finish. Okay. Thank you again to everyone. Now we are going to conduct our last conference with the title is the application of green technology. So it's quite the current issue that we are facing right now. So how to apply this green technology, and we are going to have the experts to share their knowledge about this. So before we conduct further, so I would like to welcome Ibu Retno to give her welcoming speech. To Ibu Retno, your time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day, everybody. I'm Retno Dewanti as the Manager of Community Development of Binus University, representing Rector of Binus University, to welcome all guest speakers of the virtual international conference series organized by Community Development Academic Binus University on November 10, 11, 13, 16, 17, 19, 2020. Our gratitude to Sara Marino from Mexico, Professor Yusria Al-Hamshari from Egypt, Natividad Dulce di Madrazo, Philippines, Azuba Azwal Imdad from Pakistan, Professor Dato Hasna Harun from Malaysia, Chris Bruderlin from Australia, Pervin Telavia Matchmaker from India, Omar Beretta from Argentina, Verona Mendrova from United States, Neng Priyanti, SPD MED ME from Indonesia, Larissa Zazeva from Russia, Agustina from Estonia, Dr. Maliga Marimutu from Australia, Marsan Isbayu Putra from Indonesia, Mudit Subsekaron from Thailand, Chema Jallara from Philippines, Daniel Vieira from Portugal, Mila Andrea Safitri from Indonesia, Hamis Foster from New Zealand, Ratno Dewanti, PhD from Indonesia, Dr. Nura Abdul El-Wab Dakhail from Egypt, Dramen from Burkina Faso, Dr. Kais Khan from India, Octaviana Silvia Caroline, STM Arts from Indonesia, Dr. Pantri Haryati, SEM Com from Indonesia. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all international speakers for their willingness to contribute in this event, and also to all participants who attend this virtual conference. Let me tell you in advance regarding the objective of organizing this virtual international conference series. In words, building good cooperation with colleagues in higher education and global community to care about sustainable development goals. In a second, giving insight on the challenge faced by the society nowadays. In third, and providing opportunities to college students, lecturers, practitioners, non-governmental organizations, and other communities to support each other and improve their expertise in raising industrial era 4.0. As we all know, Indonesia is a developing country, and currently its development is facing various challenges in terms of economy, social, and environment. In the SDGs program, PNUS is committed to empowering communities in a sustainable manner. For these reasons, PNUS has continuously initiated various events, including organizing virtual international conference series that focuses on community service, which is expected to develop people's insight and capacities in order to increase the mastery of skills needed by the community itself and can provide benefits to the environment, social and economy of the world community. As we all know, the world is currently being stricken by the COVID-19 pandemic, which has an impact on the economy, social, and environment, resulting in new patterns that may not have been thought of before. Therefore, this event is expected to be a forum for ASEAN and world communities to create new initiatives resulting in constantly examples that emphasize the contribution of sustainable world development. Currently, PNUS has established partnerships with other universities in the world, spread across 31 countries and 5 continents, as well as more than 500 local and international industries. as well as partnering with many NGOs throughout the world and other communities. The focus of CSR activities carried out by BINUS University refer to 9 points in the SDGs, namely, no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, and partnership for the goals. Social activities carried out by BINUS University are part of the corporate social responsibility framework, which is manifested through its commitment to improving community welfare. All social activities carried out by BINUS are seen as innovation in the implementation of CSR according to program objective, so that BINUS is recognized by the community as being able to provide economic, social, and environment benefits. This is proven by the several awards that have been received by BINUS regarding the success of its CSR program. Finally, my gratitude for the contribution of all speakers from various partner countries of BINUS University, and thanks to all participants who attended this virtual conference series event. We are very proud of all of you and happy joining the conference. Success to all of you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you to Ibu Retno for the welcoming speech. So, as Bu Retno have delivered her welcoming speech, we just go through our conference. We just start our conference in this afternoon in Indonesia. So before we conduct our conference, I would like to welcome to all the speakers. So let me call one by one first. Miss Angela Richardson from Singapore.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, Miss Angie. Your name is Angie here, so we can call you Miss Angie.
You can call me. Yes, you can call me Angie. How are you?
Okay, I'm fine, thank you. And you? You are in Singapore right now?
Yes, based in Singapore. Yes. At the moment.
Okay. Nice to meet you through virtual Zoom meeting today.
And you.
Okay, hope you are in good health.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so for the second guest speaker, I would like to welcome Mr. Chris Bruderlin. Chris Bruderlin. Hello.
Hi. And hi, everyone.
Hi, Mr. Chris Bruderlin. You are from Australia.
I certainly am. Having said that, I am here in Jakarta.
Ah, you are in Jakarta, so that's good. Then we have on the same time now. How are you doing today, Mr.
Well, indeed.
Chris?
Yeah, well, indeed.
Okay, it's good to see you wearing batik today.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your time this afternoon. So I would like to go through to the third guest speaker, to Miss Putri Handayani. Miss Putri Handayani, are you here already?
Hello, everyone. I'm here.
Hi, Miss Putri.
Can you see me?
Okay, so we can call you Miss Putri, right?
Yes, correct.
Where are you currently right now?
I'm basing in Saigon, Vietnam at the moment.
Oh, so you are in Vietnam. So what time is it there now?
It's similar, actually.
Oh, it's similar. So that's good then. Okay. Thank you for your time, Miss Putri. So I will conduct further to Mr. Hong Tat Tan from Malaysia. Okay, he's not here yet. So I will call for our BINUS speaker, Mr. Taufik ST MM PhD. Oh, he's not here also, so that's fine. So we are going to wait them later, but we can conduct our conference now. So before we start, before the speaker deliver the sessions, I would like to let know the participants the rules. So you will be muted during the conference to avoid the inconvenient reasons, and then the participant can ask questions via the box chat. Your questions there. Don't forget to write your name, your institutions, and to whom the questions you are asked for. And then the participants can receive the certificate. The certificate will be distributed to those who attend this conference from the beginning until the end. So make sure you make sure you fill the feedback form or the attendance form the time when the team share that link on the chat room. So I guess this is enough for the introductions. Let me introduce you with the first speaker. Mr. Hassan, can you share again the PPT? So I will introduce the first speaker. Okay, here we go with Miss Angela Richardson. We can call her Miss Angie. Miss Angela is a journalist and environmental activist in Southeast Asia. She is the founder of Indonesia Indah Foundation, a non-profit organization in Indonesia that empowers people to become agents of change for the environment. In 2013, she founded Clean Up Jakarta Day, an annual cleanup event in Indonesia's capital, which in 2018 gathered 1 million volunteers. As a journalist, she writes for a number of publications in the region, including South China Morning Post and Eco Business, covering health and wellness, the environment and human rights. She also bridged her passions of food, the environment and consciousness on her show, Feed Earth Spirit, which is available on the Plant-Based Network. So we welcome you, Miss Angie. Hi, Miss Angie. Again.
Hi again. Sorry, I'm getting the hang of all this
Okay.
muting and unmuting business.
Yes. Somehow we forget to unmute while we are talking.
Yes. Did I? Did I? No, I didn't. Okay.
I can hear your voice now.
Okay, great.
So you may conduct your presentations and you are given for 20 minutes.
Okay.
5 minutes before your presentations end, I will interrupt you. I mean, giving yourself reminder that the time is almost up since we have a limited time.
Sure, of course.
Okay.
I will try not to go over. Thank you,
Thank you. Without further ado, the time is yours.
Thank you. I will just share my screen. All right. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Selamat sore if you are in Indonesia. I am actually Indonesian myself. I've just been living in Singapore for the last 4 years. So thank you, firstly, for inviting me to speak at this conference, this webinar today. I'm speaking about Indonesia Indah Foundation, which is an organization which we set up only a year ago, actually. So we're actually a very new foundation. Actually, it was in early 2019. So it's nearly 2 years now. And our aim through the foundation is to empower people in Indonesia to become agents of change for the environment. And I will plow through. I know that your topic today is green tech, application of green tech. So there are actually a couple of our programs that do use some form of green tech. So we'll cover that soon. So what motivates us? So at IIF, our dream is of a more sustainable, clean, and beautiful Indonesia, even more beautiful Indonesia on land and at sea. Now, I've traveled extensively around Indonesia. This photo I took in Raja Ampat in West Papua. And as you can see, there's 0 litter and it's still pristine, beautiful environment. And this is the beauty that we want to preserve in Indonesia. But unfortunately, I've witnessed myself traveling around Indonesia from the east side all the way to the west side, that unfortunately you do see a lot of litter, a lot of garbage, especially plastic waste on beaches, in the ocean. There's that video of the diver in Bali that went viral a few years ago. I'm sure you all remember. And this is this is obviously something that we are trying to reduce Indonesia's waste output. This is a photo I took in 2013 in Bantar Gebang, which is the largest landfill in Indonesia, and where all the waste, recyclable, non-recyclable waste, ends up from Jakarta and its sub-districts, the greater Jakarta region. As you can see, it's really terrible situation. You have about 4,000 pemulung, or we call them pemulung. The translation would be trash pickers. They separate recyclable from non-recyclable waste, and they sell the waste for a living. They sell the recyclables for a living. And it's extremely dangerous because they're going through all this mixed waste and this giant mountain of garbage. And there's actually been a landslide of garbage in the past there, and really sadly, some of these people have been killed. So it's just a sobering reminder, I think, this image of the fact that when you throw something away, it doesn't just disappear. It ends up somewhere like this. And this is, of course, the situation we want to prevent. So just a few reminders. Indonesia at the moment is still sitting 3rd place as the largest emitter of greenhouse gases in the world. It's also the 2nd largest, is this in the way? 2nd largest generator of inadequately managed plastic waste after China. So we produce over 3.2 million metric tons of plastic, which is 10% of the world's total. And this ends up in landfills or as litter each year, like the landfill I just showed you in Bantar Gebang. Now, some positive news. In a recent survey last year, 82% of respondents aged 16 to 39 years, so younger people, in Indonesia stated that nature and the environment were very important for their daily lives. So this just shows that there is an understanding, and there is an interest to look after Mother Nature and live more sustainably with the environment. So we aim to change mindsets and behaviors by educating people in Indonesia to ways of living more sustainably and in line with the environment. And we focus on 4 topics, which is waste, energy, food, and water. And we have 4 different types of programs under our yayasan, under our nonprofit, and that's education, awareness, solutions, and disaster relief. Now for education, we have a program called Saya Pahlawan Lingkungan. Now this translated to English means I am an environmental hero. And we want to we're trying to groom environmentally concerned young leaders of tomorrow. And at the moment we have, together with Man Forum, we have designed a module which has been trialed at 30 national schools in Jakarta and the Thousand Islands from all levels of schooling. So from preschool all the way up to vocational high school. And this module teaches environmental sustainability, focusing again on waste, energy, food, and water. And, we have like these guidebooks. So we've created guidebooks, which are currently being in the print process, which can take some time, especially when everyone's working from home. And we call them buku panduan. So we're trying so hard to get our our modules or syllabus integrated into the national curriculum. Because as many of you may know, in Indonesia's national curriculum, there is still no environmental sustainability module. So we're trying to actually have this put into the national curriculum, but at the moment, it's still going to be seen as a guidebook, which is okay with us as long as we're getting there slowly. So we're working with the government, and it will be distributed at national schools starting in Jakarta. And in these books, we teach children how to be more empathetic towards animals, nature, each other, and they learn how to care for the environment, basically. And they've been, like I said, designed for use in preschool all the way up until high school. So this is actually probably the most exciting, one of our very exciting programs, because education is the key to change. And we really hope that we'll be able to have this incorporated into the syllabus. Now, our next program is called Haribor Indonesia. So as Shinta said, in 2013, I started Clean Up Jakarta Day. But after 2018's event, I launched the foundation. And I wanted to take what I learned from organizing this mass cleanup and make a national cleanup, called Haribor Indonesia, where we wanted the same kind of thing, but on a national scale, very much like what Australia has with Clean Up Australia Day. So I'm just going to show you a video. Please let me know if you cannot hear the audio.
Hari ini tanggal 21 September 2019 adalah Hari Bersih Indonesia, di mana terjadi bersih-bersih serempak. It's a reminder to all of us, mengingatkan kepada diri kita sendiri, kepada semuanya yang ada di sini. Jadi jangan hari ini aja ya gitu bersih-bersihnya. Ini mengingatkan kepada kita semua bahwa kita harus terus menjaga dan merawat lingkungan sekitar kita. Paling nggak yang dekat dengan lingkungan hidup kita, dengan di mana tempat kita tinggal.
All right, so that was just a video from last year's Haribor Indonesia. This year we've had to postpone, of course, due to COVID. Ooh, sorry, it's playing again. No. So we postponed until, hopefully, fingers crossed, on 21st February 2021, which is Hari Peduli Sampah Nasional. So we're hoping that we'll be able to continue with, it may be a smaller scale, but at least we will still continue and with extra precautions in place. So in Haribor Indonesia last year, we actually worked with NGOs and communities and schools, businesses all around the country. It had about 900,000 volunteers at 133 locations. And from personal experience, why we do these mass scale cleanups, because every time people often say, why don't you do them, you know, once a month? But organizing a cleanup of this scale takes about 6 months. And just from personal experience, picking up litter is really the easiest way to make people aware of the problem of plastic waste. It's really an eye-opener, because when you're looking for trash, that is all you see. Really, it's that bad, the problem. So it empowers people to reduce their consumption of single-serve plastics that harm the environment. So if you're going around, you're picking up, you know, millions of straws, you're going to make the connection that straws are a huge part of the problem, and you're going to stop using straws. And that's our experience from this event. Part of our awareness, again, one of our awareness programs is a team leader seminar. So to support Haribor Indonesia, we organize a full day training seminar for all the team leaders all around the country. And we bring them to Jakarta, and we have a seminar where we train them how to conduct cleanup safely. We teach them, of course, how to separate waste. We teach them how to continue to become change makers in their communities once they get back to their homes. And we had speakers, for instance, in this picture, Marissa Anita and Mike Lewis, two very popular people in Indonesia. And we also work with the Environment Agency in Jakarta and the Disaster Mitigation Agency, because of course, as you know, Indonesia is very prone to natural disasters. So we have to make sure our team leaders are prepared for any natural disaster. Last year, we had quite a few issues. We had forest fires, so we had haze from forest fires in some provinces. We had riots in Papua. So yeah, we had to be very well prepared for all these problems. But because of COVID this year, the webinar will take the form, the conference will take the form of a webinar. Now, another awareness program, working together with Copernic, which is another NGO based in Bali. We are helping to track Jakarta's poor air quality or air pollution. Excuse me. So they've created an application where you can log in and directly check the air quality in your area. So we've been helping them to socialize and spread the message of this application in Jakarta, starting in Galur, which is a sub-district in central Jakarta, which is a very densely populated zone. And we're performing tests, and so far we've socialized up to 750 households. And it basically will help people to check if it's safe. If the air pollution quality is bad, then it will suggest things that they should do, what kind of masks they should wear, or perhaps stay indoors if air pollution is at an unhealthy level. So this is an example of how we're using tech to help people.
Sorry, Miss Angie, you have 4 minutes left.
Thank you. Okay. That was fast. Okay, so our program, because of COVID, one of our disaster relief programs was supporting people with sembako. And so we had donors from all around the world chip in, which was amazing. And we gave sembako to 1,046 low-income families in Jakarta. I will go quickly through. And another disaster relief program is called the Train of Joy. Excuse me. We are working at the moment, Nyomplong village in Sukajaya, West Java, is a village that was affected by the landslides in early 2020. So it's a non-formal education approach to help people build post-disaster resilience and improve their educational outcomes and environmental understanding. So we set up a public kitchen, water filtration system, and a hydroponic farming system, which I think is important because we're trying to teach people how to grow their own vegetable to become more self-sufficient. Another program is A Tree for Life. This is quite self-explanatory, but we're aiming to try and plant 1 million trees across the archipelago. And at the moment, we are planting mangroves, starting in the Thousand Islands. And this is one planting that's happened in Pulau Pari. And again, food security in urban communities. So we're working with the South Jakarta government to train people in low-income communities how to grow their own vegetables, using very simple and items you can find every day, for instance, a trash bin. So this is actually at the moment being conducted via webinars. And this is something I'm very excited about because I believe COVID has really taught us that we need to return to the land and start to grow our own food again. And we are doing a river cleanup in Sungai Batanghari next week, actually, to try and raise awareness to the issue that single-use masks are causing. And we have a webinar coming up on the 25th of November where we will showcase this cleanup. So that's it. Thank you. Hope I didn't go too fast at the end. We are always looking for volunteers to help. We like to work with communities and NGOs. We like to collaborate. Believe the more heads, the better work we can do. So please do reach out. Please check out our website, indonesiaindahfoundation.org, or follow us on Instagram on II Foundation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Miss Angie. You have still 1 minute, actually.
Oh, okay. I went too fast then at the end.
No problem. Anyway, it's such an interesting topic, and what you delivered is like the actual what happening in Indonesia before and the coming year. And then you introduce your foundations. So I'm going to summary up your presentations. So it's like you show us at first the picture of Raja Ampat, and then we compare it with Bandar Gebang, which is totally different, which is the one that in Raja Ampat that we want to preserve, and then the one in the Bandar Gebang is the one that we want to prevent. And then you show us that Indonesia has 4,000 pemulung or trash pickers, where we are the second largest generator managed plastic waste after China, which is, wow, it's very, how to say, it's very sad to see this. But luckily, we have 82% from 16 to 39 years old that they are committed. They stated that nature and environment were very important. So thank God that we have awareness from these millennials peoples and Generation Z. And
there is hope.
Yes, there is hope. This is important because we should change the mindset. And then you also deliver about waste, energy, food, and water. And then you introduce us your program of your foundations. The first one is about the educations. One of the program is, this is my time, Saya Pahlawan Lingkungan. And then also your foundation conduct Hari Bersih Indonesia 2019. And then you are going to conduct, hopefully when this earth is already safe, on 21 February 21, Hari Peduli Sampah Nasional. Hopefully you can make this next year. And then another program for solution and disaster relief. Once that I noticed at the end of your presentations, there is another program that cleaning the river. It's Sungai Batanghari, and I was surprised because I came from Jambi.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully this will be very great program for us, for the people. And thank you anyway, Miss Angie. To those participants who want to ask, you can drop your questions, but we will conduct the Q&A at the end of this, after all the speakers deliver their presentation. So thank you, Miss Angie, for your time. We are going to the second speaker again now.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Shinta.
Welcome, Miss Angie. So maybe you can stop sharing. Is it yours? Okay.
Mr. Chris.
Oh, this one is Mr. Chris. So before Mr. Chris deliver his presentations, I would like to introduce Mr. Chris. Mr. Chris Bruderlin is originally from Australia, but lives in Jakarta. As he said, he's in Jakarta right now, and has been living there for most of the last 20 years. He has also lived in Hong Kong and Singapore. He is the co-owner of 2 startup businesses that are involved in flood contamination management, as well as another business that provides drone services for inspection and survey. He has had a broad education, with having obtained a Master of Arts degree with major in marketing management at Macquarie University in Australia, and a Master of Business Administration degree with Surrey University in the UK. So we welcome you, Mr. Chris Bruderlin. Hello, Mr. Chris.
Hi there, Shinta. Thank you very much, Shinta. Okay,
Yes.
I'm just going to drop this into... Okay, so hopefully everyone can see that. You can see the screen okay?
Yes, we can see your screen now.
Great. Well, firstly, welcome everyone, and thank you for giving your valuable time for this presentation. It's really great to be part of a gathering of so many people with a common goal to look towards a sustainable future. And I think what's so positive about this, very easy to complain, very easy to go out and demonstrate, much more difficult, but much more positive to get out there and actually do something. And I think what we just saw from Angie was absolutely inspiring. So I'm certainly very, very proud to be part of this event. As you mentioned before, my name is Chris Bruderlin. I live here in Jakarta. I've been here for many years, around about 20. And as an aside note, incidentally, we could really use a bit more fresh air here in Jakarta, which is probably a good way to lead into my presentation about reducing air pollution from diesel engines. So firstly, before we get going, I would like you to ask yourself if you think that electric cars are a lot better than petrol or diesel-powered cars environmentally. And with that thought, just wanted to explore a couple of points. Whilst it does look nice and green when the power comes from a socket in the wall, in most cases, this power is generated from coal-fired power stations, and they typically are not that environmentally friendly. Additionally, electric car batteries use a lot of metals and chemicals that cannot be recycled and cannot easily be safely disposed of. As an example, the Tesla electric vehicle you've probably all heard of, for the 85 kilowatt battery pack, it uses 540 kilograms, so a bit over half a ton of batteries, and contains 7,104 lithium-ion battery cells. So please just keep that in mind. By 2050, the estimated global vehicle sales are likely to only have around 19% of pure electric or electric hybrid cars. It's estimated there will still be around 78% still powered by fossil fuels up until the year 2015. So importantly, don't misunderstand me. I think the future for electric power cars is brilliant. I think the technology is just going to get better and better and more environmentally friendly. But what I would like to do is keep something pretty simple and focused, and I would like to explore with you how we can reduce the environmental impact of the diesel vehicles now in use, which are likely to be around for quite some time. So I'll dive into the presentation now. So firstly, diesel engine air pollution. What is its cause and can we reduce it? Very, very important question. So there have been many government regulations and initiatives. Specifically, I'm going to talk about Indonesia. There's AMDAL certification. We also have a framework called PROPER that many governmental organisations follow, which again is directed towards improving the environment. We also have introduced biodiesel, and this is both here in Indonesia, I believe Malaysia as well, which is certainly positive, depending, of course, where it's sourced from. We also have Asia-wide better air quality in livable cities initiatives. And of course, there's continued global environmental initiatives. So why are these initiatives not successful? And again, talking specifically about diesel engine air pollution. So most attempts to reduce diesel engine air pollution focus on management of the exhaust emissions, often with limited success, e.g. exhaust gas recirculation, EGR. So some of the other areas they've introduced is new engines, new exhaust devices, and you probably noticed from the picture down on the right, that particular one's not looking too successful. Special masks, reduced exposure, and toxic biocides. So what I'd like to talk about and explore with you is an alternative solution. And that would be to focus on the combustion process, which is the source of the exhaust emissions. And in actual fact, it is the root cause of this particular problem. Hopefully you're familiar with the term combustion. It's basically where the fuel and air gets pushed into a cylinder and it burns and creating the movement of the pistons of an engine. So the goal is to achieve complete combustion of the fuel-air mixture. Why? What is important? So firstly, clean and dry fuel. Air that's clean and dry, engine oil that's good quality, and engines that are well maintained. So fuel contamination, what is it? Firstly, we have particulate. You could also call that virtually dirt, if you like, water, and microbial growth. And quite surprisingly, even in diesel fuel, once you introduce water, yes, you get a lot of things that actually grow in there. And that would constitute, what constitutes that is yeast, bacteria, and also fungi. So how to manage it? Monitoring programs, very important. Understand what the fuel quality is, so you understand then what to do about it. Good storage, another important area, and fuel conditioning. So biodiesel, what's interesting, this has been introduced here in Indonesia now for a couple of years. If anything, it's looking very much like we're going to increase the percentages of biodiesel. What you can see there is the molecular structure of fatty acid methyl ester, or FAME, or actually in Indonesian, we would say FAME. And this particular fuel is derived from organic substances. And that would be things like rapeseed, from jatropha, from corn, from sugarcane. But importantly, in both Indonesia and Malaysia, predominantly we get the biodiesel from crude palm oil. So what's important about FAME? It can absorb 4 to 5 times more water compared to fossil fuels. Its storage life is only from 3 weeks to 3 months, if not maintained. This is quite a big issue. We've talked to some folks even at Pertamina, and they are suggesting down to as low as 1 month. Microbial growth in this fuel is exponentially higher than fossil fuels. It has caused a lot of problems with increased contamination when not treated properly. So wet and dirty fuel. Moist, humid air enters tanks as fuel is consumed. Now, if you have a look at the arrow and you see that pipe, that is basically opened out to the air, and as the tank level lowers, it will breathe in very wet and humid air. Obviously, we're in the tropics here. So water droplets condense on the tank walls and then drop into the fuel. Particulate also enters the tank from the air and from dirty hoses. Now, what you can see here, again, surprisingly, is results of microbial growth and some sludge that forms. If you have a look at the fuel filter there and the stuff that's on that guy's finger, this is a result of microbial growth sludge, and that fuel filter is only 2 weeks old. If you look on the right, we actually did an experiment. You see the bright picture, bright orange. Put some diesel fuel in a container, put a little bit of water in there, left the lid off, and what you see there is only from about a month's worth of growth. So all of those things were actually growing in the diesel and water mixture. So diesel engine injector pressure and nozzle openings. 100 years ago, the diesel engine was breakthrough technology. Today, diesel engines are much more advanced. Injector pressures have got progressively higher. Now, the unfortunate aspect to that, once you start putting in dirty fuel and the engine system is not working properly, you will get more exhaust emissions. Additionally, injector nozzle holes, so this is what sprays the fuel into the combustion chamber, are down as low as 2 to 3 micron. Now, to put that into perspective, a human eye can only see down to around 30 micron. Contamination can have massive impact on engine performance. So damaged or blocked injectors. So typically, you can see what's circled there. That is what we want, a nice even spray pattern. So it will go into the engine combustion chamber and burn properly. So what you get if you have damaged or blocked injectors is inconsistent or low power, misfiring, uneven idling, higher fuel consumption, premature engine failure, and importantly, highly increased exhaust emissions. Now, here's another environmental concern, slightly going off the emission issue, but tank corrosion. This is definitely something worth thinking about. Microbial growth is very corrosive. It's very acidic in nature. Studies have shown that tank walls can rust away at up to 3 millimeters per year. Rusted metal flakes, of course, equal contamination. So importantly, indoor or outdoor above ground tanks leaking, obviously quite an environmental concern. Having said that, underground tanks leaking could be a massive environmental issue. As you can imagine, trying to dig up a tank like this, very problematic. For example, in Jakarta, probably the bulk of the water we consume here, not necessarily drinking, but other water, is groundwater coming from wells. We also have around about 5,000 service stations selling diesel fuel, and most of them have underground tanks. So I'll leave you to imagine what the potential environmental issues could be if we don't deal with this contamination issue. The cost of controlling the problem, effective reduction of air pollution, comes with upfront costs. You need to do frequent monitoring of the fuels and make sure you understand if they're getting contaminated, why. Water drains, very basic, but drain the water off the bottom of the tanks to reduce the contamination. Install tank breathers, as well as fuel conditioning, which I'll talk about in a second. So fuel conditioning, this is a very, very important aspect, and it's very difficult to get people to understand that this is necessary. But it is a very, very important component of trying to reduce the emission levels in Jakarta or pretty much any other large city here in Asia. Some of Fluidtech's fuel conditioning processes, I'm just going to show you very briefly. For example, one process we use is a fuel purifier or water separator. The positives with this unit, it uses no filters at all. So there's no consumables or other things introduced into the environment. It uses a coalescing process and really drastically reduces water in fuel as well as particulate in fuel. Another area we're really, really proud of is we have the New Zealand built and patented Pure Blue system. And these particular units don't use any consumables at all. They use photochemistry, where the lights will actually affect the microbial growth and kill microbial growth, as well as pull it apart. And again, the only thing they need is 24 volts DC. So again, it's a very, very environmentally positive way to try to mitigate these contamination issues. As you can see there, that's one of our systems where we're combining a number of these different processes together. And what we're setting out to do is taking fuel that pretty much looks like that, and turning it into fuel that looks like that. And in so doing, we will have a monumentally positive effect on reducing emissions. So the benefits of doing it right: we can save fuel, which again is a positive. Reduce fuel filter consumption. Again, fuel filters, if you use less, they're ending up, less of them, into the rubbish. Prolong fuel pump and injector life. Increases power and reduce emissions, obviously very, very important. Reduces maintenance downtime. Improves engine oil life. Reduces fuel line and pipe blockages, and reduces tank corrosion. As you can see, very, very important issue, and ensures startup reliability. So overall, by treating your fuel and managing your fuel, you can drastically reduce your carbon footprint while also saving money. So if you'd like to learn more or get any more information, please feel free to contact us at the contact details there. And with a bit of luck, I've come in under 20 minutes. And again, thank you very, very much for your time. And I'll now hand you back to Shinta. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chris, for the wonderful presentations. We have another new knowledge about the air pollution from diesel engines. So what I can summarize, some of it are, there are the government who are contributing it. Some of them are UMDAL Indonesia, Proper, Biodiesel, Clean Air Asia. But somehow it is not successful because of one of the reason is that the exhaust gas recirculations. But actually there are another alternative solutions that you have explained before. So there are also ways to how to manage the full contaminations. The first one is monitoring the program, a good storage, and the full conditioning itself, which is also important. And there are some cause of the cost of controlling of the problem, but what we should highlight is that the full conditioning itself is very important. So the benefits of doing it right, first, there are some benefits. The three of them are save fuels, reduce fuel filter consumptions, and prolongs fuel pumps and injector life. So long story short, reduce your carbon footprint by saving money. So I guess that is the one that I can summarize. Hopefully this will be helpful for the participants. And thank you very much, Mr. Chris, for the wonderful knowledge. I would like to continue to the third speaker. So, Mr. Hassan, could you please help me with the introductions of the speaker again? Okay, so our third speaker, who is currently in Vietnam, Ms. Putri Handayani, is the 2016 Chevening Scholar. She holds a Master of Science in Climate Change, Development and Policy from University of Sussex. Putri has 11 years of experience in social study relevant to sustainability and climate change issue for private sectors. She advises clients to achieve their strategic target in alignment with national and international standards. She works in multiple sectors, including power, mining, oil and gas manufacture, and infrastructure under IFC, ADB, WB, and EP principles. So we would like to warmly welcome you, Ms. Putri Handayani.
Okay, can you see my slide?
The slide, not yet, but I can see you.
Okay.
Okay, we're waiting your slides.
So this is, I can open my own slide, not Hassan.
Oh, you want Mr. Hassan to open it? Mr. Hassan, could you please help us?
Okay.
Can you open it?
Okay, it's out now.
Yeah.
Okay, Ms. Putri, you may start your presentations. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. So, hi everyone. My name is Putri Handayani. Can you advance to the next slide? So here is, before introducing what I'm working here, so this is our company, ERM, Environmental Resource Management, where I doing my job as sustainability and social senior consultant here in Vietnam, Saigon, working around the world here, especially in Asia Pacific. So if you click next, can you click next, Hassan? Okay, so we have multiple different disciplines around the world. So we're practicing similar technology. When we talk about low carbon energy transitions, all our offices around the world provide a consultancy for business that want to grow their technology on wind power, on sustainable, on climate change, on best practice from many different standards. We use the standards that you mentioned before, IFC, International Finance Corporations, World Bank, ADB, Asian Development Bank, and various other. That depends on what we want to deliver to our clients. Next, please. So here a little bit about how we portray our green technology in ERM. So we understand that the entirety of power sectors is mostly full of fossil fuel energies, which coming from, say, coal, oil, or other type of fossil fuel that will release a lot of greenhouse gases emissions, causing global warming, and in the end also will cause climate change. And we cannot really move very fast in many different countries. We can see that European countries already move their technology or power consumptions into more renewable, but there's also other parts of the world like Indonesia, Vietnam, China, that's still struggling for their power source. Like we use mixed energies. It's a combined fossil fuel and renewable. So we can use oil or coal combined with geothermal or combined with other source like pumping water to have like evaporations as technology. And the other sections is those power companies or countries that can have green energies, 100% renewable energies. Even though it still have a little bit of emissions from other activities around their energy generations, but most of it already come from water, like hydropowers. It's also coming from solar as well as wind power, wave, and other type of renewable energies. Can you move next slide, please? So another click again, Hassan. One click more, okay. So here we can see that in areas, we can see how the carbon, can you go back one? Sorry for that. When you see, this is wind power. So in Indonesia, we already have wind power. Those are on the right side is wind power in Sulawesi area. And in the middle is wind power in Vietnam, the one that we mostly conducted here. So if you see the main goal is to reach carbon neutral energy. So there's solar panel, wind power, nuclear power, geothermal, waste to energy, wave power, combined cycle, LNG, and coal. So you can see how we generate the energies from wind power in the offshore area. We float the turbines, the wind power turbines, and the wind power that we use can go as a minimum from 20 meters and as high as 150 meters. You can imagine Monash or Monument National is 132 meters. So some of our turbine will be higher than Monash. And then those floating turbines will be anchored to the seabed, the shallow one. And then we have substations and electrical cable. The places where this turbine exists is already tested that the wind has power to move all the turbines that we have. We usually have 7 to 14 turbines in one set of wind farms, and then they will go to the energy that they create, or the electricity that they create will go to power stations. In the power stations, if you see the other, there's a distributions line and transmissions line for the one onshore. So we can distribute it to our consumptions around the area. So this is just a way that how we show our clients here around the world or Indonesia already have this type of green technology for power sector. So we try more and more to reduce the use of fossil fuel in our power generations. Next slide, please. Okay, so the other options is for solar panel. So we have two options. Again, it's quite similar to the power, wind power. So the first one, if you know at the moment that China has created huge solar park, means that it's a solar farming facility, but very huge, in very huge size, like 43 kilometers square. And it also can cover 1,547 megawatt. It's like, if we have hydropower, it can be like, I don't know, 4 or 5 times bigger than the electricity that it's been covering by hydropower. And the other one, if we don't have other area, or we cannot, or we don't want to do land acquisitions, or there's no more land, we go with hydropower reservoir area or lake area, and we convert that into floating solar panel. You see in the middle pictures that it is one of the floating solar panel in Dami, Vietnam. So this is quite a new development in Vietnam that Asian Development Bank worked with the governments and created these locations, because Vietnam is emerging market for renewable energy. So they want to try more and more options for renewable energy. And this is how the floating solar panels works. For the regular solar panel, it's quite similar like this, but it's on the ground itself. And if we talk about the floating solar panels, they have sort of similar settings to floating wind power, but they sit in the bed of something that not really moving a lot. So they can get like a maximum captures of sun shines in this area. It's quite similar. If you can see, there is area where the solar farm exists, and then there's substations attached to it. And then we put it on the transmissions lines, and we put it distributed into the main grid owned by the main electricity companies on the locations in Indonesia. It will be like PLNs. In Vietnam, it will be Vietnam electricity companies. So in Indonesia, we also have a plans to create like the first floating solar PV plant in Cirata, if you know Cirata, Waduk Cirata, and our government will have it soon, but it's still under a lot of discussions. So yeah, that's part of our job here in ERM. We do help our clients to understand what is the impact for the technology that they want to introduce to the market. So if you have a questions like, okay, this is like a good new technology, green technology, it helps us move from fossil fuel and reduce the potential of like exacerbated global warming. But in the other side, we also have impact to this green technology. We can see it covers a lake area, maybe a biodiversity under it. We don't know what will happen and how the community will be able to access the lake or not after we introduce the floating solar panel. And when we talk about the regular solar park, we talk about the impact of how we remove forest or area, or how we remove people livelihood in these locations. The same thing happens with wind power again. If we see the previous slide, we can see that the farmers or the fishermen work in between the wind power. So there is a social and environment impact to green technology. So sometimes we don't think that it exists, but we try to understand that it's give us a big benefits to have more powers from green technology, and we can reduce our impact to the earth as a whole. But in the other side, we can see that if you can imagine, it's like 43 kilometers square, it's, I don't know, as big as Jakarta maybe, or it's supposed to be exist only in the middle of desert. But there is something take and give whenever we do green technology. So if I can move back one slide, Hassan, to wind power slide. Okay, so we can see here that in Indonesia, it usually happens that many wind power exists on the top of the hills. So in that locations, we see there's a lot of vegetations in that area. There is also people surrounding that area. When we develop this green technology, we need to understand how it will impact the communities surrounds it. If there is any risk for the communities, or if there's any risk that we remove a biodiversity in the locations, we also need to think about it. And sometimes the plan to do the green technology is still need more of research. Like in Indonesia, we're a bit slow on renewable energy or green technology, the innovations one, because sometimes we don't know the answer. If the community, or if someone like journalists asking what happens if the community sit around it, around the green technology, and suddenly there is one of the piece of wind power turbine fall. Yes, once in a blue moon it happens on these green technologies. We call it the break in the wind turbines, and there's also a shadow flicker impact for the community around it. So apparently it will disturb on how you perceive your environment, on how you see and how you perform your activity if you have a shadow flicker all around the year, like every single day when the wind power operates. And if we talk about other things, just a little bit more, nuclear power. So this one is, although it's very carbon neutral, not many emissions, even almost no emissions, but it's very dangerous. In some locations, people really don't want nuclear power. So when the locations is not really flat or there is any opportunity for earthquake, nuclear power is not good options to implement green technology. So when we think about a new thing like green technology, we need to think, is it good or not? What is the most benefit for us or not? So I think that's all from me. I hope I'm not past through the time. Give it back to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Putri, for your great presentation. So you are talking about the green technology as you are the sustainability and social consultant in Vietnam and around the Asia Pacific. So what you are going to educate, like, it's not your company, like want to educate the clients, or what they want to fulfill with the clients is that they have some programs. So what you are currently working on, that the green technology for energy transitions, actually they are three. The first one is the fossil fuel energy, the mixed energy, which is a mix of fossil fuel and renewable, and the green energy, which is 100% renewable energy. And then there are some, option of green technology for power sector in the future. The first one is the wind power. You show us a picture, the one in Vietnam and the one that in Indonesia. And also for the floating solar panel. Actually, in Indonesia itself, it's still under discussions. And it is planned to be in Ciratah, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, I also just heard this name.
Yeah.
I will try to look up where Ciratah is.
Yes, it's a waduk or hydropower place.
Okay, I see. So I think that's what I can summarize from Miss Putri Handayani. Thank you for your valuable knowledge and time, Miss Putri. And now we are going to conduct to the next guest speaker, Mr. Hong Tatan, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry for my pronunciations.
No problem.
Welcome, Mr. Hong Tatan, to this conference. So before you conduct your presentations, I would like to read your biography, who you really are. So, Mr. Hong Tatan obtained his Master of Science, Process Engineering and Bachelor of Engineering, Chemical Engineering from University Putra, Malaysia. To date, he has more than 10 years of working experience. He has in-depth experience related to climate change and climate strategy area in ERM Kuala Lumpur office. He is a certified lead auditor for ISO 14064, which is an international standard for GHG emissions inventories and verifications. He has been involved in more than 50 projects related to carbon footprinting, GHG emissions calculations and validations, mainly in renewable energy, oil and gas, and power sectors. He heavily involved in capital building of the team within local office in the area of greenhouse gas or carbon footprinting, ISO 14064 climate-related strategy advisory and sustainability reporting services. He also enjoys learning programming during his free time, where with this skill, he has developed several workflow efficiency tools to improve the performance of the work his team delivered in environmental resources management or ERM. So without further ado, Mr. Hong Tatan, how can I call you? Mr. Hong?
You can,
Mr. Tan?
yes, Mr. Hong Tat will do.
Mr. Hong Tan. Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Hong Tan, the time is yours. You have
Yes.
20 minutes and I will give you a soft reminder when 5 minutes before your presentations end. Okay.
Yeah.
Please welcome. We welcome you.
Sure, no problem. So as you have heard from my previous colleague just now, Putri, so I'm also from ERM. So thank you. And next slide, please. Good afternoon and good morning, depending where you are in the world. My name is Tan Hong Tat. I'm a principal consultant in ERM, where I'm looking after the corporate sustainability and climate change services in this region. First of all, I would like to thank Venus University for inviting me to speak at SDGs Asia Summit 2020. Next slide, please. Before I proceed, I would like to take a moment to introduce ERM. We are a global provider of environmental health, safety, risk, and social consulting service and sustainability-related services. We have more than 5,500 staff stationed over 160 ERM offices in over 40 countries. We work with many of the world-leading organizations delivering innovative solutions and helping them to understand and manage their sustainability challenges. In 2018, we recognized as one of the best management consulting firms in the Americas, and 2014, we are voted as the leading sustainability consulting agency in the AD Award 2014. Next, please. So to start the short talk, I would like to set the background on the concern we are facing today. Our planet Earth is facing a great challenge, and that is climate change. Greenhouse gas being the contributor to the temperature rise globally has seen an ever increased trend. Since Industrial Revolution in 1840s, the annual emission recorded globally has been on the rise. Our emission to date has been growing more than 7 times compared to the pre-industrialization era. And this trend is expected to continue on the rise with no sign of peaking soon. If you look into the breakdown of the greenhouse gas emission chart on the right, you'll find that around 3/4 of the emission is from energy sector, 1/4 from industry, and the remaining split between emission from transport and energy in the building. This indicates great effort will be needed to lower the emission from energy sector. Fortunately, the world is on track in tackling this issue. Great effort has been invested in many areas, including electrification. By allowing electrification, we could harness the energy from the nature by using renewable energy. However, there's always pros and cons for the solutions, right? So maybe move on to the next slide. Yeah, next slide, please. As you can see from my colleague's presentation slide just now, solar and wind power has always been seen as a feasible solution to enable low carbon energy generation. This solution has a good chance to be cost effective as to enable grid parity. However, this solution comes with its own weakness. There is stability and availability. One of the biggest concerns in this field of renewable energy is power generation depending on the natural resources that are uncontrollable by human. So I guess the slide is not changing. Maybe you can move on to the next slide, please. Thank you. All right. So one of the biggest concerns in this field of renewable energy is the power generation depending on natural resources that are uncontrollable by humans. For example, solar power electricity is generated only when the sunshine is available and turned off at night. Wind energy also depends on availability of wind. So if wind speed is very low, the turbine will not turn. This will result in zero power flow to the grid. On the other hand, too much of wind can damage the generator, and therefore a delicate balance need to be maintained in order to keep the consistent generation of energy. The uncertainty in the energy production in renewable energy technology is making integration more complex. More renewable energy plants that share the energy with the grid require large area of space. In most cases, renewable energy sources that are detected by the location, which can be off-putting to user. Firstly, some renewable energy sources are simply not available in different regions. Secondly, the distance between the renewable energy source and the grid is a major aspect in terms of cost and efficiency. In addition to this, renewable energy sources depend on weather, climate, and geographical location. Therefore, meaning that one type of energy generation is not appropriate for the region. Yeah, these factors could be limiting aspect for the growth of renewable energy. A solution needs to be bridged to this gap. Next slide, please. The solution could be hydrogen. Many believe it may not. Nevertheless, let's look at what hydrogen technology could offer us. The belief among technologists and scientists now is hydrogen is a versatile fuel. To put in context, hydrogen comes in 3 types. If you see on the top right, gray, blue, and green hydrogen. Gray hydrogen is hydrogen produced using fossil fuel. It is the mostly obtained from natural gas in an energy guzzling process that is known as steam methane reforming, which is also short form as SMR. This process releases a significant amount of carbon dioxide. Gray hydrogen accounts for some 95% of the hydrogen produced in the world today, while blue hydrogen is hydrogen that meets the low carbon threshold but generated using non-renewable energy sources such as natural gas. Natural gas is decarbonized with carbon capture and utilization or storage solution during the SMR process. On the other hand, green hydrogen is hydrogen that is not only meets the low carbon threshold, but is generated using renewable energy sources such as solar and wind. It's an ideal solution, right? Especially now the price of wind and solar energy has been decreasing. Today, less than 0.1% of the global dedicated hydrogen production comes from water electrolysis. Now with the understanding of how hydrogen forms, we could see potential integration of renewable energy such as solar and wind into the production of hydrogen. The hydrogen produced could be stored for later usage. With the green hydrogen produced in scale of economic, the hydrogen could be used as fuel for heat, hydrogen for vehicles, seasonal energy storage, and long-distance transport of energy. This creates an economy called hydrogen economy. In this current hydrogen economy, heating is fueled primarily by natural gas and transportation by refined petroleum products. Burning of hydrocarbon fuels emit carbon dioxide and other pollutants. Hydrogen can be environmentally cleaner source of energy to end user without release of pollutants such as particulate or carbon dioxide. Hydrogen can help to decarbonize long-haul transport, chemical, iron, and steel industry, and has potential to transport renewable energy for a long distance and store it long-term. For example, wind power or solar electricity. There are a lot of countries that start embarking on this idea. Some of the key leading indicators to monitor as the world shifts toward hydrogen economy lies in how the key economy sector react to it. We could start to see key car manufacturers commit to development of hydrogen, fuel cell, or electric vehicles. We could also see more organizations, even countries, start to commit to net zero target. As soon as 2050, all this commitment could be turned into a reality. And these commitments comes with multi-billion investment in future of hydrogen economy. A great pressure is on the technology of hydrogen to be developed within the decades. So we will see whether hydrogen could be a versatile bridge to the weakness of wind and solar is just within this or the next decade. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope this short session brought some insights to you today. Thank you. Terima kasih.
Okay, terima kasih Mr. Hong Tatan for your presentations about ERM. You introduced about ERM also, as you are the principal consultant in ERM, a leading sustainability advisors. So let me summarize a little bit about your topic, what you have delivered to us. There are some key concerns of most commonly accessible renewable. The first is the power availability. The second is just the resource locations. And then the third, of course, is the cost. And actually in the versatile bridge, there are three kinds of bridge. The first one is the gray hydrogen, the blue hydrogen, and at the end of the day, it's talking about the green hydrogens. So the energy flow itself, it started from the electricity, hydrogen, and then the fossil fuels, which is this is also have been explained a little by Ms. Putri. So I think that is what I can summarize from Mr. Hong Tatan. Thank you so much for your presentation, Mr. Hong. So now we are going to continue with our last speaker, which is from BINUS, Pak Taufik. Mr. Hassan, could you please help me with the PPT to introduce the speaker, please?
So, thank you very much. I would like to share my screen.
Wait, Pak Taufik, I will read your biography first.
Oh, okay.
I will introduce you to the participant first.
Sorry, sure.
Okay. Mr. Nah. Takes are okay. So I would like to introduce you our honorable speaker from BINUS, Mr. Taufik, STMM PhD. Mr. Taufik is also known as, sorry, it doesn't show very clear in my PC. So let me try to read from my phone. Mr. Taufik is also known as Taufik Roni Sahroni. He received a Doctor of Philosophy in Manufacturing System Engineering, the same with Mr. Hong Tatan in University Putra, Malaysia in 2012. He previously holds a bachelor's degree in Industrial Engineering, Pasundan University in 1996, and master degree from Bandung Institute of Technology in 1997. He has been involved in teaching and research for national and international universities for more than 20 years, inclusive 7 years industrial experiences. Currently, he is the head of Industrial Engineering Department, Faculty of Engineering at Bina Nusantara University. His interest research fields include industrial and manufacturing engineering, supply chain, CAD or CAM or CAE, casting technology, operation research, human system integration, and concurrent engineering. He earned a professional engineer or Ingenieur Professional Madya in industrial engineering in 2015. He is a member of ASME, American Society of Mechanical Engineering. He has won several medals in various research competitions in Malaysia and South Korea. He has published for more than 60 papers in national and international conferences and journals. So, we welcome you, Mr. Taufik, and we would like to please you to share your knowledge to us. The time is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Sima. Cinta. Sorry, I'm not clear now. Sorry, how long it take to present?
around 20 minutes, and before 5 minutes before you end, before your time's end, I will remind you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Actually, I will make it in so can. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum. Yeah. Salam sejahtera and very good day to all of you. Today, I would like to present a short paper. Is it clear? My presentation?
Yes, it's clear, Pak.
Okay, it's about the implementation of green productivity methodology for furniture industry. As we know that I'm asking about what the time of this Asia Summit. The committee said anything with a green. So I come up with the green productivity. So my name is Taufik, Taufik Roni Saroni, and my team is Joshua Christian. We are from the Industrial Engineering, Faculty of Engineering, Bina Nusantara University. So I would like to share about what is the green productivity itself, what is the trends, what kind of the methodology, and what is the improvement can be performed by using this kind of methodology for the other industry. In this case, I would like to share about the furniture industry. Okay, before we do the, allow me to explain about the productivity, green productivity. This era globalization, industry sector is experiencing a rapid increase in many countries, including in Indonesia. As we know that Indonesia, the increasing oil company, gas industry, as well as non-oil and gas should be reduced until 20%. It is our government policy. The efficient growth of this industry activity will give positive and negative effect directly and also as well as indirectly. So in contrast, the negative impact is pollution caused by industrial activity, such as electricity generation, as urbanization process, environmental pollution, consumerism of society, the reduction of agricultural land and industrial waste can be concerned to be studied further. So nowadays, the challenge the industrial section is executed dynamically, and it is followed by the various kind of pressure, such as globalization. So we found that the green productivity itself, the methodology is suited to this kind cases in Indonesia. So the green productivity is a strategy to enhance productivity and environmental performance that can provide positive changes in socio-economic field. As you know, the figure is about how to ensure the profitability, enhance quality, as well as reduce environment impact. So if we heard about the techniques, Six Sigma, Kaizen, actually the green productivity was initiated by the Japan, with the IPO-tokyo.org. So the Japan show the successful methods such as Kaizen, TQM, Toyota production system. So they initiate to share with the other countries such as Asia countries. So it is application of appropriate productivity and environmental management tools, techniques, technology to reduce the environmental impact of organization activity for product as well as services. So it's a good methodology actually. There are common tools can be explained in the GP concept itself. If you heard about the TQM, right? It is similar, but they add with the environmental protection. So the GP or the green productivity concept is more about the environmental issue, how to perform and how to carry out the current problem, in order to reducing such as pollution, as well as footprint, carbon, and so on, as previous explained by the presenter. So Actually, there are so many kind of tools can be applied in the green productivity. For example, we heard about the material balance, material flow, eco mapping, energy balance, work sampling, cause and effect analysis, cost benefit analysis, benchmarking, Pareto chart, Ishikawa diagram and control chart, as well as failure mode and effect analysis, or FMEA. So these are common tools to be improved in order to make the good productivity for the industry actually. So okay, so the methodology is very simple. From getting started as a consultant, then planning, organization, the generate how to conduct the regular meeting, how to evaluate site visit can be conducted, implementation of GP option. There are so many kind of issue. For example, layout is probably the main issue, operation flow, as well as safety issue. Actually, the safety issue is combined with the environmental issue. So by monitoring and review regularly and do the something sustaining GP activity, this is a 5S and so on, and go to other, find another one, cases, and do the planning, and this is a cycle. Okay, what we have is the industry. For the furniture industry, we perform the GP actually. The first thing we have to do is site visit to the workshop and find out which area that can be improved. We have so many kind of area that could be lead to the injury or the accident. For example, this one and this one. So the plywood is not placed properly. So as well as we can find that the height of the roof itself is not proper enough to circulate the dust and so on. So this is some of cases that we have, we can share with you. Another one is another place is some similar technique. Yeah? The current condition is more, is not well prepared actually in order to place some materials. Yeah, so this is common. So what we have is we do this, propose some layout. Yeah, there are some. This is a current layout. So we come out with the two kind of alternative solution. We do the layout by using space relation diagram. We can measure how many frequent they travel from one department to other department, and how about the safety issue in this part. Is there any relation about it's more about the frequent travel distance. Yeah. So by using the space relation diagram, we come out two alternative solution. Yeah. So we do some calculation, total material handling. The current is about 129.1 meter. So the proposal one can be performed 49.5 meter, and the proposal two is about 71 meter. So we would like to suggest that the company should change the layout due to so many kind of flow not proper, contra flow. I mean, so in GP itself, they have unique tools, yeah, such as a material balance. Actually, material balance is about how to describe the inputs, all the inputs, yeah, from the industry, as well as the energy itself, and how to calculate the waste from that kind of process, so for the particular process. So we have to measure the output as well as the waste. Yeah. So why the waste is it's a part of our improvement. So once the waste is get increased, so the process or the GP methodology is not performed well. So once the waste is decreased, so means that our GP methodology is getting better, working properly. So the other one is the eco mapping. The eco mapping is show all the figure, right, placed properly with the area and with the color that lead to the safety issue or environmental impact. So we identify. So the eco map also show the material flow from the beginning, entrance, until shipping, as well as how to flow if the materials to be burned. For example, because there is a lot of dust there, and how to eliminate the dust properly. So the conclusion is the GP methodology is presented by providing material balance and eco map for furniture industry. It is possible to apply to other industries, such as any kind of industry that from raw material and get to the process and to become output, as well as how to measure the waste. Yeah. The material balance for furniture industry shows overall the parameter that contribute to waste management. So the objective is how to decrease waste volume. And last one is eco map, so the activity in layout selected by and material flow to be improved. So I believe this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. Need your feedback. Welcome for the feedback. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Taufik, for your knowledge about the implementation of green productivity. So I would like to summarize a little bit about what is green productivity is, but actually it's talking about how to ensure the profitability, enhance quality of life, and reduce environmental impact. And there are several methodology that applied here. The first one is, again, get started, which is, this is like the cycles, how it works, the cycle. Getting started first, planning, generation, and evaluation of GP options, and then implement its the GP options, and then monitor and review, and at the end of the step, you should sustain its GP. And actually, there are some points that you have shared with us. Moment first. So the GP methodology is presented by providing material balance and eco map for future industry. Material balance for future industry shows the overall parameters that contributed in waste management. The eco map shows the activities in layout selected and material flow to be improved.
Yes.
So that is all the presentations from Mr. Taufik Sahroni. To anyone, those who have questions, you may drop your questions in the chat box. Since we have all the participants, all the speakers have delivered their sessions, now we would like to open the question and answer sessions. Actually, I have summarized some questions, but unfortunately, Miss Angie already left early. So I will read some questions for Miss Putri first. Miss Putri is still here, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. There are some questions for Miss Putri. You prefer for me to read it one by one and then you answer it one by one, or all together and then you answer it?
Just read all together, please.
Okay. So the first one from Kevin, a BINU student. He's asking, what do you think towards and ways we can come up with for countries that have replaced fossil energy with the greener one in some sectors, yet still use conventional method in providing electrical power. That is from Kevin. And then another questions from Rizky Ahmad Kurniawan. He is asking, which renewable energy solution is more cost effective when choosing between geothermal and solar power, considering geothermal hotspots is not the most conveniently accessible places out there? And the last but not least for Miss Putri is why in Indonesia has not applied green energy technology. Is it clear enough, Miss Putri?
Yeah, so if you ask about why Indonesia haven't had green technology, I think we do have it, but it's quite limited, the number, because when you remember that things AMDAL from our second speaker, I think we call it EIA, impact social impact assessment, environment social impact assessment. So in this process, environment impact assessment, we need to understand what kinds of technology that we have and how the risk on the social and environments can impact the entire community or the entire environments around the project itself. However, with renewable energy or per se, we can call it geothermal, solar panel, or whatever the innovations is at the moment, there's not many experts here in Indonesia. So we need, in some of ERM projects, we use our colleague all around the world to help our clients, but it also means the cost of developing green technology will be quite high. In Indonesia, the energy mix is still high in coal technology because it's cheap, the cheapest one at the moment, even after we have solar panel and wind power established. Yeah, so the cost, the biggest things that make a business to step back is the cost, because so many things to control that we don't know. And the other things, which one that we want to use compared to geothermal and solar panel. So depends on how big the scale is. But of course, if you want to use geothermal, you need to understand the distributions process of electricity that you generate after that. After you do the constructions and you do productions, you want to deliver it to consumers. If the consumers exist around that area, say the geothermal in Salak, there are a lot of factories around it, so it's still possible to have it like cheaper. But if we opt to solar panel, but we need to pay the land acquisitions process or livelihood restorations, or we need to remove biodiversity that very endangered species, we need to do conservations. It's also quite big investment. So everything's need to have like the cost considerations. But at the moment in Indonesia, might be good if we have an innovations of solar panel, because solar panel can be put everywhere, basically, not only on the ground. If the structures allow, you do a retrofit of your building, you do a retrofit or the roof of your factory, you can use it on the top of the roof. We know that IKEA already do this in their facility, the factory and the stores, on the top of their roof, as well as Google, they already try to use it on the rooftop. But again, innovations need times and need leaderships and bravery. So in my considerations, I will choose solar panel on this case. And what is the first questions again?
The first question is, what do you think towards and ways we can come up with for countries that have replaced fossil energy with the greener one in some sectors, yet still use conventional method in providing electrical power?
So what do you mean by conventional power, like technology? Because we
There
need
are
to
many methods,
understand.
is it?
Yes, there are many methods. So if you want to transit from current energy process, like business process, we use oil and gas and coal. It's huge investments. We need to understand that. So when we want to do the transitions to renewable energy, we need to understand that the process cannot be done in very fast way. So if we want to provide the opportunities for the governments or for nations to consume more renewable energies, the answer is try ourselves to increase the demand. So in Indonesia, we can demand like factories or business to use more renewable energies instead of using oil and gas or coal. So that's why more and more power generator being built in Indonesia based on industry demands. If as individual, of course, it's quite hard to do, like creating our own demands to the power generator, like because it's a monopoly in Indonesia when we want to generate power, PLN monopolizing everything. So we don't really have independent power producers that can easily get into the grid without any permissions from the government itself. So if we can create a demand, or you as a new generations, you want area that has more sustainability, you want the area or the products that generate through the process that more on a green technology or more on renewable technology, you choose the grid. Say in Sulawesi, it's better if you want to build a house in Sulawesi because their power and electricity coming from more renewable energy. But in Java, it's still heavily consumptions from coal. And yeah, we create the demands basically like that.
Okay, thank you for a thorough explanations, Miss Putri. Maybe one last questions for you from Renald. He's asking, it's related to wind and solar power. While it results in zero waste from energy productions, how is the waste management for the disposed wind turbines and solar panels? Is it recyclable?
So the age of production cycle for wind turbines and solar panels, at the moment we have the technology that allow us to recycle. And we have a maintenance process that will replace the blade of the turbines and will replace the solar panels. But it's a continuous process. So at the moment, the solar panel has a different grade material. So if we choose the grade that is compostable or easily recycled, it is good for environments. But the early ages of solar panel, which is still operating within 15 years, might not be that easily to recycle. And in other notes for wind powers, every part can be recycled. But it after spending like 20 years of operations time. So it was fine. By the time it will retire, the asset retired, there will be a technology to recycle all the parts of this process. Not saying that the oil part, we still need a little bit of oil because it's machineries. On that part, there's another process that we can use to recycle. But the entirety of it, majority, there is a process to recycle and improve the quality of every part of wind power or solar panel.
Okay, thank you so much for your answer, Ms. Putri. And now I would like to ask to Mr. Chris. There are two questions actually for Mr. Chris. The first one is, what things has Flutech done to make everyone realize that reducing emissions is important? That's the first one. And then this is just like, I think it's kind of easy questions from me, because me as the one who has no knowledge about this kind of solar things, emissions, and before you told us that the cost of controlling the problem, the first one is effective reduction of air pollutions. So how we control the air pollutions, how we control to reduce these air pollutions while we don't really know how to do with it. Hopefully you can have these questions, Mr. Chris.
Okay, two at one time is probably a little too much for me, but I'll do my best to walk through them. The question I think you asked, how can we make an awareness, or I guess try to develop a desire from people to actually deal with emissions? It's a difficult one, because so much of this is predicated on commerciality. You know, we've got some clients that are very, very concerned about emissions. For example, people that have hotels and or shopping malls, and they have standby gensets, and in that case, they have a concern, I guess, on a basis of their clients would be worried by high emissions. In many other cases, it's the economics of it is sort of like, no, I'm not prepared to spend enough money. I think that UMDAL certification is a very, very good step in the right direction, because it's placing a lot of responsibility on, for example, any commercial buildings in Jakarta, where they have to actually get the emissions tested from their gensets. So it's going to be, I guess, a combination of people demanding cleaner exhausts, complaining about it to governments initiatives to push operators of diesel engines to make sure the exhausts are cleaner. So that's, I guess, how you'd start out with it. I think the second question was, how do we control exhaust emissions? And that really, the large aspect of controlling exhaust emissions, we believe is more a cause rather than trying to fix the problem after it's already happened, is, as I mentioned before, to treat the fuel. So to store and manage the fuel as best you possibly can. There is expense on that as well. I guess what we're trying to do with most of our clients, we're probably more focused on a commercial basis, where we're saying, look, the cost of the fuel filters, the cost of the downtime to the equipment will commercially have an impact on your business. In many instances, the issue with emissions sort of becomes a little secondary to them. But yeah, it's a lot of this is, again, based on trying to make the commercial aspect of it viable, because there is a cost. And secondly, I guess the public pushing as well as governments pushing to create an environment where we're really pushing people who are running these diesel engines to have some concern and be prepared to spend the money on getting this right. So hopefully that will be a reasonable answer to the question.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Chris, for the answers. I think that is enough for the questions for Mr. Chris and Miss Putri. Actually, we have a lot of questions for Miss Angie, but unfortunately, Miss Angie leave our conference early because she has another schedule. So those two, Devia, Natalia, Stephen, Safira, Audrey, Talita, Sigit, you may send your questions to Miss Angie directly. I will drop her email here in the chat box. So this is her email. You may drop your questions to Miss Angie directly, and hopefully she will answer your your questions as soon as possible. So I think that is the end of our conference today. I would like to say many thanks to all the speakers, all the honorable speakers, Ms. Angie, Ms. Putri, Mr. Chris, Mr. Taufik, and Ms. Hong Tan, for giving such a new knowledge, especially to me, because I don't really understand about this, but this really helped me to open my mind about this green technology. And hopefully, like Miss Angie said, that there are 82% of Indonesians thought that, what did she say before, that we still care about the environment. Hopefully each one of us today still look up to the environment, care, because the care itself starts from ourselves. So let's not litter anymore, let's help them. Hopefully this will be helpful for the coming days. And thank you for all the speakers. Before we end our conference today, we would like to take pictures together before we end this conference. And please, the community development team, to take this memory before we end up our conference. All the participants and speakers, you may turn on your camera so we can take the pictures.
Okay, I want to ask your time. I think 11 pages, 11 slides of pictures. It's gonna take a while. So the first one, please say cheese. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, second page. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. And then the third. 1, 2, 3. Okay, wait. All right, the fourth page. So 21 who hasn't activated the camera, please kindly turn on the camera so I can take pictures. All right, 1, 2. Okay, I'll wait.
Let's wait a little.
Yeah. Okay. Turn the camera on, please. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, page 5, 1, 2, 3.
There's no one turning on the camera on page 5.
Okay, page 5. So we have many participants who haven't activated the camera. One, 2, 3. Next page, 1, 2, 3. Page 8, 1, 2, 3. Page 9, 1, 2, 3. Page 10, 1, 2, 3. The last page. Oh, it's okay. It's 10. Okay. Thank you so much for participating.
Okay, thank you so much for your help, Mr. Vishnu, is it? For taking the pictures. Thank you to Mr. Chris and Miss Putri for your valuable time and knowledge. We hope to see you soon, not by virtual, but by person to person. And hopefully you have a wonderful day and have a great day there in your places. Stay safe and stay healthy. And thank you to all the participants for attending this conference. Hopefully we all safe in the middle of this pandemic. I'm Sinta Malina. Thank you and see you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you, Mr. Chris. Thank you, Miss Putri. Thank you, Pak Hasan, Pak Wisnu.
Thank you, Miss Sinta.